Let's call the meeting to order. Let's have a roll call.
Agnes Fornarski, chairperson.
Present.
Dana Syvertson.
Present.
John Kamish.
Here.
Ed Madden.
Present.
Peter Hahn.
Here.
I'm Jill Moskell, and recording secretary. We have a quorum.
Next is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of February 8th, 2018.
I make the motion that we approve the minutes as Jill has so handily crafted them.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Meeting's approved. Minutes approved. Old business, update on workday schedules.
I thought I would do this one. We had, our last Sunday workday was at Heron Pond. We had a really good turnout, got a lot of work done. We had a resident come out from one of the homes there on the pond and spent quite a lot of time with us. Actually had a kielbasa with us, and he was interested in what we were doing, and we spent a lot of time with him, bringing him up to speed about what's going on. A nice guy, making big progress over there. The path is completely lined out from where it's going to start
Let's
to
back up,
where it's going to end.
I'll just mention that I met with Dino Squires from the Park District the day before the workday, or I think the day, or 2 days before, because the issue has been that, we've been working on that site, and then we seeded an area and it was mowed. So those seedlings didn't survive, and so this keeps happening. So we went over the actual project site and what to do about it, and so the idea was we would try to line a wood chip trail for part of it, as far as we could get during the workday. The rest, he would do just a single mow line all the way down. So that whole section would be not mowed. I mean, mowed just a single path.
The section between the creek and the pond.
The section,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
now
Saw
just
the-
a lined path.
I saw that, yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
Looks good. There's no wood chips there,
I
but
know.
they were frozen. We couldn't do
Frozen
it.
solid.
We tried, but they were frozen. so.
The idea was that if they can't get in there to mow, then they won't, and then this gives us both sides, and it actually narrows where it comes into the, that shoreline
I saw it,
gets tight there.
Yeah.
And Agnes wanted to do that so that we had more real estate to stabilize
Yeah,
that with,
the long
with
roots.
long roots, so.
you figured that.
We will be continuing on with the work at the slough, which includes more invasive stuff, trailblazing again. There's no more seed to put down right now, but we're slowly going to be shifting into the things that are seasonal to the greenhouses, so that will be coming soon.
Should we put wood chips on that trail in the slough?
Oh, at the slough, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think parts of it would be nice, but I worry that it would wash in. Because when the water level comes up,
That's true.
it comes up all the way.
Yeah, it
It's
comes
not
up.
like Heron Pond or Morava where it's dry,
It's under.
It's completely under, and I think the wood chips would just wash it right
Even
in.
on the,
Float away.
They'd float away, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of lining it though with the wood, so it delineates it.
well, it'll float away also.
Yeah. Unless we can take some type of,
Well, Agnes
Odds
was
or
talking about,
something, but-
trying to, at some point, get a grant to put in boardwalk or an
Or an Eagle
Eagle
Scout
Scout.
project,
Yeah.
sections
To
at a
do
time,
sections
like
at
a
a time.
boardwalk.
Starting with
They have
the
that at
worst
Boulevard.
areas.
Through the,
yeah,
through the marshy part, for sure. yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But that side up on Hill, what's the name of your street?
Hillside.
Hillside.
Mhm.
Does that always go underwater?
it does.
It does. 'Cause it's pretty muddy to walk through.
Mhm.
You know,
It is what it is.
it would be really nice to have a boardwalk there. For public access, for people.
Yeah.
So,
It's
Re-
looking good, though.
even if they can put in those plastic honeycombs like they have on that little driveway around the observation deck on Elmhurst Road. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
I have.
They're-
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if that's,
hardscape.
pardon?
I mean, it's just stone and, yeah.
No, it's not stone.
It's not stone.
It's just the
Like plastic,
plastic
yeah.
honeycomb.
Plastic honeycomb, and
It's
it's
still
Wouldn't wash away.
pervious.
No.
No.
It embeds itself into the terrain, but then provides a stabilizing, walkable.
It's the drive that's in the loop of the,
Yeah, no, I know.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, well, just a thought.
Well, it's only money when it's raining.
Well,
Maybe I walk it too much.
you walk it too much. And other people walk it too, and so it's muddy. There's a lot of people walking around there too.
Yeah.
It would be very nice to have some sort of a, but the only thing I can really think of that would, a little elevated deck, like walking around, walking down.
The whole thing?
Not even, no, not the whole thing, just the
No.
thing that gets muddy and wet and flooded. Because sometimes it takes like a week for the water to recede down, and so if you have that,
That
area.
bridge is a little off kilter too. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I
Yeah,
noticed that it
I think
didn't.
the last flood probably, it got lifted or
Yeah.
something. We should straighten that out when we get a
if
chance.
it was connected to a little boardwalk.
It,
it would-
it does have stabilizing things. in
Well, we could
all four
extend,
corners.
the bridge and
Yeah, no,
start the boardwalk.
I'd be a fan of a boardwalk right through that. part.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be nice. It's, they have it at Volo Bog, they have it, other areas, a lot of wetlands, and even
Yeah.
some natural areas, that I've been through, they'll have a nice little, just a walk path, and as soon as it starts getting wet, you slip onto a little boardwalk for that section, and then the boardwalk ends, and then you
Right.
keep going, so.
Okay, going back to the workdays, when, this next Sunday has not been determined.
No.
Where we're actually going to be working. But I think, when do you see us going back to work on the Cedar Prairie? When do you see time being spent over there?
The seeded prairie?
Yeah,
Oh, not for a while, not until invasives start, like May,
May,
but that's
okay.
mostly herbicide.
Right,
I don't really see like a volunteer workday there
okay.
in the foreseeable future unless it's to plant things. It's more herbicide management of invasives with whoever has an herbicide license or interns. But volunteers don't have herbicide licenses, so they really, for now.
Okay,
We put down a lot of seed after the burn over there. Not much to do there.
all right. That's all I got on the workdays.
Anybody else want to comment?
Are you done with your comments about the greenhouse, Dana?
No, that's, Agnes
Coming
is
up.
next, gonna give
Got
you an update. And it was just saying that the workdays eventually
We'll
will
eventually
Yeah.
get there.
shift to some
Okay.
greenhouse work.
Which is next. So we have seedlings that are coming up, many different species in the little greenhouse, and they're doing wonderfully, like thousands of little seedlings, and really conservative species that we haven't been able to grow before. I really believe that the best way is just to stratify them outside. And some of the species that I have not been able to grow to date, like the native wild geraniums that we collected, or some really early spring ephemerals. What we did was we put the seed in the soil right after we collected it in the spring, and it was just sitting there for the last year, and it's like 99% germination
Wow.
that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I haven't been
really
able to grow them
amazing.
at all, Well, what I've done is I've tried to grow them, they don't grow, and then sometimes the next year, some of them come up. This way, they all come up, so.
You'll
Nature.
also tell them about the stuff, the really conservative stuff for
For Poplar Creek, so we're growing a lot for them. And so with the greenhouse program, I'm hoping that we won't have to spend a lot of our time doing so much transplanting like we've done in the past, and instead we can focus on invasive control. But Poplar Creek Prairie Stewards will come out and do a lot of the transplanting, and so hopefully we'll have a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. When they come out in mass, 20 people, they it's
Knock it out.
knock it out, 3 hours and done. So that's the plan. I did purchase a new greenhouse. It wasn't the super deluxe version, but it was very nice, and we've been putting it together since it arrived. Jill came. We battled a
Saw it,
snowstorm.
looks good, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks really nice.
We worked in the snow. I
we
wanted to
did.
take a break, but Jill said, no, let's keep going
Oh, yeah, right.
in the snowstorm, so we did.
I just said I'm fine, and she said, okay.
Okay, we just kept going. So we spent hours putting it together, and then Jill left and Seth came, and so Seth spent the next few hours
That's
putting
right.
it together with me.
Cool, you made progress. I was
And
there this
then the
morning.
next day, I started all over again. I was gonna burn with Cook County, but it snowed, so. And then also Angelica, one of our volunteers, came. So it's taken like 18 hours with 2 people at a time so far to put together, and it's not done.
No, it's not done
No,
yet.
it's like 70% done. So if,
Whatever.
if anyone wants to help on,
If anyone's around on Sunday, we're gonna try to finish it up on Sunday.
there's one part missing. It'll arrive 3 to 5 days, and then we can start.
It is the
planning.
day after St.
Show,
Patrick's Day.
show Peter.
No.
You show?
I won't be there.
Holy cow, you really did. Oh, that looks wonderful.
How big is that?
It's big. It's 12 by 12 feet.
Good. All glass or
Look at
plexiglass?
that.
Yeah.
You even got the roof up.
Yeah,
It's like a post-holiday.
yeah, it's nice. So this will house all of
What's
the,
the floor made out of?
It's all, it's like doubled up 2x6s. We had our carpenters put it in,
Okay.
and it's all sitting, they poured foundation.
Oh,
it's got a foundation, it's got a really nice stable
It's got a
base.
basement,
Not,
two-car garage.
no, but it's really nice. It's gonna house all of our seedlings, especially the special ones that we haven't. And some of these seedlings, I mean, they are really nice, conservative species, so. And very, very exciting. So that's that. Anybody?
Okay,
So is
the,
anybody available on Sunday, by the way?
the
What
what?
time would you start?
Anytime, I'll be there all day. Anytime,
Okay.
even for half an hour, and it'll probably take me all day to finish it. So, since we don't have work day on Sunday, that's what I'll be doing. So anytime.
Okay,
I might be able to.
the Park District and Library, the Nature Speaks, we have Allison coming up next. We just ran into, just heard of a problem they're having with the facility over there at the library. Roundabout, some acquaintances of mine are doing a presentation on Bulgaria there tonight. And they have a full house, and they have the Consul General of Bulgaria there, and nothing works.
Oh,
And so all of their material was on the computer. And, every time we've had a Nature Speaks, we've run into this, and it's a struggle to get that equipment to work. We were talking about this on the way, that I do have one projector at work that I'm going to try to marry up to the laptop for our presentations, just as a fail-safe. They keep
Yeah.
saying they're going to replace the equipment there, and they haven't. And now, I mean, this is a minus 0 hour program that's going on tonight, and it's gonna be a disaster.
It's too bad.
So that's unfortunate, but that's something that I look to sort out before the 19th.
So we have a backup always.
Whether we, make that work, or, work with the library to get something done about the situation over there. We also are asking Larry Rosenthal to see if he can move the strategic directions meeting off of the 19th of April, so that Patrick could videotape Allison's presentation. So I'll hear back from him shortly, and hopefully Larry will be kind enough to accommodate us so that Patrick can come video that. We have 2 in the bank now, 2 video presentations. And this would be nice to continue all of them. So we have, after that presentation is Gerard Wilhelm, and there's nothing else in the works. Jill's given us a few suggestions that we're going to start looking at. Doug Talamy is still on my my wish list, so I'll go back to working on him again as well.
Well, it'd be really important to try and get Mr. Wilhelm's presentation recorded too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, and I've already
Yeah.
sent the dates
Yeah.
to Patrick on that one, so.
When we're scheduling them, should we be cognizant of any other city? Meetings.
It's not us that drives the schedule, it's the library. They give us a date, and that's when it works with their
Yeah.
schedule, and that's what it
But we
becomes.
should also maybe, because they give us 2 or 3 choices, maybe we should make sure we look at the schedule of the meetings.
They haven't, they've been just giving us one.
Oh,
So,
Well, if there's a conflict though, maybe try and finagle on that and say we have an issue and see if they can give us a second date or an alternate.
the way they do it, they're just so booked,
Yeah.
that's it, that's the date. And we've run into this before, and, like, their art shows are 2 years out. Our next art show there is David Ludwig, and his date was 2019.
Yeah.
So, and that was set up in 17. So that's how far, they're booked, they're scheduled, so
Yeah. All right.
Well, we
it's
can
tough.
try, I think,
we can always try for sure.
yeah, to make sure, to be just aware of it. And
The Park District programs, the only thing we have with them right now are the 3 bird walks. We just haven't, for whatever reason, had the energy to come up with or try anything else. And so until we come up with some new ideas or some new energy, it's gonna be bird walks.
Well, I mean,
Bird walks are great.
They're
you know, you-
great.
let's do what works and,
Yeah.
and focus energy somewhere else.
we had 2 cars, I mean, 2 of those big
Yeah, the vans.
vans, yeah,
Right.
with people. It was like over 20 people last time.
Yeah.
By the way, Lee Ramsey, who you all know, Lee had bypass surgery and is in rehab right now. So
Also
he
had a valve replacement.
had a valve replacement as well. So he will, if he does come to the April Bird Walk, it'll be in some limited capacity, so. I have a card for everybody to sign, and then we'll send it on.
You're aware of the HIPAA laws, right? Just say.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Well, it's
It's
been
not
like,
like this is a public meeting or anything.
Nobody's watching.
nobody's watching. No, but he's gotten, there's been emails sent across all of the volunteers, the county, and everybody's.
Okay, Earth Day, or I'm sorry, the Nature Preserve and the interpretive signage, you guys are up to date. We have 5 of the signs out. You've all looked at them. I'm incorporating some things that Jill suggested. Christina just got back to me with some modifications. I have to have a lengthy conversation with her before I want to comment on it, so. And then we still have, Peter, who would I submit the signs to for approval in the city? You?
Well, they're on Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Park District property.
Did they need to be?
Park District property, right?
Right,
You may want to reach out to Dan just to see if there's something
Okay.
that we need to do, but
okay,
it's Park District property.
Right.
It's pretty much governed by themselves, I think, so.
okay,
But just, it may be just, like a friendly little tip the cap to building and development, just to see if we have anything that we have to give them a special like dispensation for.
okay, all right, okay, good, okay. So that's all I got on those.
So there was supposed to be a, like, March 31st opening of the trail system,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be, so we'll just come later.
It's an Easter egg hunt.
Do it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's all right, we'll wait for better weather.
yes.
Okay, Earth Day is the 22nd. The Earth Day week structure is still, Allison's talk is on the 19th. The first bird walk is on the 21st, and then our workday is on the 22nd. There are still those ideas out there, which I don't think anybody's done anything with, about trying to make the workday something more than just a workday,
Or not a workday.
or not a workday, just an info day, or,
Or workday in the afternoon, or workday on Saturday after the bird walk.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And one of the suggestions was to plant trees, which is a really
Which
nice
day actually
idea.
is Earth Day?
Sunday.
Sunday.
It is
Sunday, the 22nd, correct.
Yeah.
And that also coincides with our regularly scheduled workday.
Mm-hmm. And Peter gave the idea of like planting trees, or a tree, or several trees, which we have many of.
Well, I would still suggest having a work day, because that really is still a good fit, but to incorporate, maybe would we definitely be doing like a kielbasa thing that day?
We could, yeah,
But
or,
I'm just,
Yeah, I mean,
I know that's not anything highly different than some of the other ones,
Right.
but just a little something else to,
well, Jill had talked
Celebrate.
about the possibility of bringing some, like, people from Poplar Creek or, you know, some other programs to
Mhm.
just invite them out and maybe give a quick talk or something.
for fellowship.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's not a bad idea. But what if, well, they've been asking too about the, I don't know if this makes sense or not, but, we're supposed to have one of our transplanting days in April for them to come out. They can come out en masse, they can come out like, because they alternate work days, and we've always done it that way so that I could participate in their work days every other Sunday. So that Sunday, they don't have a work day. Which might be too much for them because they have a work day the day before, but it might not be.
Mhm.
It's a thought. I mean, they could come out, you know, we could have them all come out, we could go on a
Put
walk.
the invitation out and see if it,
We could do a transplanting day that day for like 2 hours and go on a really nice walk all around the slough. And have some really nice
Yeah.
food and kielbasa, whatever, fire.
I think that's a great idea.
'Cause-
Can you talk to them about it?
Uh-huh.
All right.
It may be even the second time they come out.
I don't know, it's our special Earth Day edition.
Yeah. We can think about that, sure. Then we have like 40 people.
Yeah.
Come out.
That would be nice. So we're not going to open it to the public other than saying, this is what our workday is going to be that day?
We could, I mean, I wouldn't exclude the public, and the more the merrier, right?
Yeah, I think you just
I mean, I
build that
doubt
as
we'll be
part of the
overwhelmed with-
attraction for the public.
We could try to split it up where some people are transplanting and some people are planting trees and some people are taking a walk.
So we could have different crews set up.
Yeah, so maybe some people transplant for like an hour, then go plant some trees for an hour, then go on a walk, and I could like lead all the walks the whole time and take a new group, because it's always, if you have 40 people, that's a lot to lead a walk. Maybe, you know, we take
Mhm.
turns.
And do we not have, on one of the bird walks, we didn't have Lee and,
Mary Lou?
yeah, we
Mhm.
had a woman, I thought she was in the area.
Yeah,
She is.
she's a friend of Lee and
Uh-huh.
Mary
Maybe we
Lou's.
could ask her to come out in case,
Yeah, she'll come for
why
sure.
don't you ask her, and then she can talk about the birds, for
Yeah.
who's ever there, you know?
Right, or even have
Because
a
she's-
little group go out.
Would this
for
transplanting
birds.
thing be at your
Mhm.
house? So I would say just bring, you know, it's the center of it.
The
People are
center, and then,
Transplanting, if people want to break out from transplanting, which,
yeah,
you know, it's
go
a
on a
nice
little
thing
bird
to do.
walk, go
Right.
Take a
plant
stroll
some
down the path,
trees.
but just leave it open.
Mhm.
I don't,
Right.
you know, there's a lot of good energy in a group of 40 people,
Mhm.
and to spread them all out, then I think you kind of lose some of that, maybe.
Okay,
But,
well, but if you leave it open for whoever wants
yeah, I
to
mean,
do
if they
what.
want to come and go and go on a
Yeah.
bird walk or whatever, then
Right.
just, you know.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Peter?
Pardon me? I think it's a great idea. I'm just thinking of all the people and, you know, planting the trees. We have some trees to plant.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll work.
There won't
You
be
can
an
lead
issue
the
with,
the tree planting crew.
That'd be fine. You have the white oaks, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad to plant them.
you don't think there'd be an issue with parking, do you?
We can park along the street during the
There's a
day.
lot of parking.
Mhm.
Is that okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the idea then would be to make a super work day on it.
Super work.
Super work.
Yeah,
on that
Super
Sunday.
special.
a fun super work day.
Fun, yeah, fun
Special
work day
edition.
with a fun bent to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
but we'll see if they're available.
I won't be there.
all right, moving on then to the summer interns.
Let me just add one more thing.
Yes,
Will we send out like a special notice in
Yeah.
a journal and,
yeah.
I mean, not the journal, but in our,
Well, this journal is going to contain all the information about Earth Week's celebration.
okay,
Good.
So all this will be built into that.
okay. Is there any way to be able to reach out to the community, or surrounding community, that not everybody gets the journal, not everybody gets the notifications?
Yeah, you could put up signs at Starbucks.
I mean, we could do a
But-
press release for that.
We could certainly get Peter
Press
some
release.
stuff. Peter,
Exactly.
Ed,
Press release.
E-news.
Yes.
Yeah.
A press
E-news,
release.
E-news.
And e-news. I mean, why not?
If you do a press release, we'll use all of our media.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, ideally, we've always had people in mind that you've gone from year to year, or someone you liked last year that you couldn't. So, I mean, if you need to venture out and try to get someone new,
Yeah.
you can do a press release. I mean, I don't know if there's any particular, like, targeted websites or anything that you guys know about that has, deals with natural resources. We can just do the blanket, Patrick can do Facebook, Twitter, we can do the e-news, we can put it on the website, we can send out
Yeah.
a press release, we can do all that stuff.
Right,
So-
the more the merrier.
Yeah,
But I mean,
okay.
targeted to like specifically natural resources
Mhm.
or, the Warren Arboretum or something, that would be your expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
We'll just have to divide it up so that whatever stations are there, that maybe one of us takes.
Yes, we have to organize it well, we have to have a
Right.
plan.
We have, yes, that's important, because if we got 60
all right,
people.
start with talking to Poplar Creek first.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
And do you
see-
think we
Yeah,
could
that
also
makes
invite
sense.
the McDonald
Yeah,
Commission?
they may.
We got our-
Yes,
Yeah,
If it's
absolutely.
Earth Day, they may.
Collaborate.
Yeah, and invite the
I
McDonald
still
Creek
think we
Commission?
would do it anyways.
Yes.
What we're talking about is there, with it being Earth Day, there might be a good chance there to have another event, but
It's true.
even if they do, I still would encourage us to do it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Because if it's not them, we can get the community involved. Instead of 30 people from Poplar Creek, we get 30 people
Well,
from the
it's something, you
community.
need to get the community involved anyway, so,
Do we have a rain date?
no,
Earth Day is Earth
Earth,
Day.
Earth, yeah.
it rains on Earth Day. It
Bring
rains
out
on
the
Earth-
umbrellas.
Yeah, umbrellas
We'll
and
all
rain
go,
gear.
we'll all go into the
Boots.
greenhouse.
Oh, yeah, the greenhouse.
It's supposed to sustain 100-mile-per-hour winds. so-
That's right. That's true.
So if we have a lot of hot air in there, it won't matter.
Okay, that's, okay, I like that. That sounds like a really great idea.
All right, so let's try to firm that up
Yes,
ASAP.
yes, as soon as possible. Very exciting. Okay.
All right, summer intern status. We have the one intern funded through the anonymous donation, which is terrific. We have submitted our budget to the city. We are now part of the administration budget as opposed to Public Works. It looks like it will probably be approved.
No issues so far.
All right, no issues so far.
It won't be, of course, it's not finalized until they vote on it in April,
Correct.
but you were at the meeting with
Right.
Jill as well. There was no opposition to it.
No.
They purposely, they specifically were looking at your line items, so they realized that we took it out of the Public Works budget and put it in. It's a hybrid, it's really not administration, it's more boards and commissions, like the council and that, because you're appointed. But they, Alderman Luxon specifically mentioned it, so they know they know that of what we did, so it's not
Right.
like there was any pushback or anything like that, so.
Right,
And the budget's balanced, so that's always a good thing. so.
yeah, okay. So given that possibility and probability, we, as you all know, we spoke with Gabriella, and she is 100% on board with the internship. So when and if the city approves it, then we'll finalize that with her, and she'll be the second intern.
And she knows that it's not,
Right.
100%.
Yeah, she knows it until it's funded.
Do
It's,
you want to mention to
yeah.
Peter or who?
Peter, we have one of our regular volunteers is a senior student who's looking to go into,
She's at Hersey.
Local. Local, I mean, she lives in Prospect Heights, but she's looking to go into environmental resources. She's getting
Environmental
ready to go to
science.
college. And so she's incredible work ethic, everything
She's been
about it is
volunteering
perfect.
with us for over
So
6
she's already
months now.
passed the audition.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so is she gonna be
she would be the second intern.
oh, she's the second, okay.
Right. The first one, we've extended the offer to our intern from last year.
He's already tested. and-
Yeah, Jeremy, so he was just so outstanding that it would be great.
He could
That
be
would
the senior
The
intern.
experts, you guys know what,
Right,
especially if they're a known quantity, if you
Yeah.
know who they are, or
absolutely,
or their work ethic, that's fine.
yeah. So we would look forward to having that happen for this summer, would be absolutely outstanding. So, Jeremy hasn't officially gotten back to us he had like one other possibility, but he really, really wanted to come back. So we should know on that very shortly. And as soon as we get the okay from the city, then Gabriella is like 100% on board. She was also going to do the herbicide test early so that she could hit the ground running with.
She already wanted to do the background check.
Well, if something does happen with Jeremy, then obviously we could move.
Yeah,
Jeremy
we-
to
Yeah.
that guaranteed
Right.
spot.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
Correct.
conduct a quick search, but,
Right.
so, but
So that's the status of the summer interns.
like our chances.
All right, so I think we're in really good shape for that. ComEd, Agnes.
ComEd grant report, so we created it, I think everybody got a copy of it, and we submitted it, or the park district submitted it. Christina made a few changes, submitted it, we got a response from ComEd thanking us, and everything is good. There's still a few items that were expended before the deadline, but still need to happen. So the signs need to go in, the stones need to be fixed at the creek, but that's all gonna happen soon, so.
So they were happy.
They were happy.
Good.
Mhm. Yeah, everything was done on time. They received their grant report. Wouldn't be surprised if we went to it, got invited to another talk.
Speaking of those stones in the creek, do we have a plan for straightening those things out? and
Yeah, it's
settling?
called the original contractor who put them in is coming back to do that.
Good, all right.
Yeah.
And he was part of the last tail end of the grant. He's already been paid, so he'll come back out and
Okay.
do the work.
Great. That's
So
wonderful.
is this likely to be an ongoing thing where,
Well, he said he had some ideas to stabilize them on a more permanent basis. I don't know. I don't know what he's got in mind, but we'll see.
yeah. And even if we have to, then we'll find a way
Right.
to straighten them out.
Mhm.
They built the pyramids by hand.
Yeah.
You're in charge of that.
That's right. Okay, we're done with that. New business. Presentation of PHNRC 2018 budget to city council.
As we just said, it's already been submitted, and Jill and I attended the workshop on the budget last Monday. And we have been moved out of the umbrella of the Public Works and into the administration umbrella. And as you heard Peter say, there's no opposition.
So
Is that a
we'll
good
see.
thing or a bad thing?
It was
Hopefully.
just an accounting thing, because
Or an accounting thing?
there was because we were in Public Works, and then they paid everything in our budget, and Public Works goes, wow, what happened to my budget? So,
Oh.
That and you're an appointed commission,
Right.
so it just makes more sense to put you with all the other boards and
Right.
commissions.
There's no confusion, less
right,
confusion.
less confusion for their.
And it separates you from public works, so when we're buying landscaping material for you, it's
Right.
not coming out of the public works budget because of the wrong line item is used.
Right.
So it's accounting, it's an easier accounting practice.
Okay.
Sure.
Right.
Good.
So they vote on it in April. Is there a date for that, Peter?
Well, we got the 26th coming up right now. It's gotta be passed in two, it's gotta be read, there's gotta be a first reading and a second reading, so the earliest it would be is the second meeting in April, so whatever the fourth Monday is. If someone-
Is that a workshop?
Sorry?
Is that a workshop situation or a full council meeting?
Well, they're all pretty much full council meetings.
Oh, okay.
Technically, the first Monday of every month, or the first meeting, the second Monday of every month is a workshop. But they're all working meetings where we're passing legislation that needs to be passed, so it would be like the fourth Monday in April.
Okay,
If they do decide to do something where they want to waive the first reading and they want to pass it, the first meeting in April, the
Right.
second Monday, I'll definitely let you guys know
Okay.
about that, along with my other committees that I'm liaison.
okay, thanks, Peter. Okay, Jill?
McDonald Creek Commission.
Yes. I attended the McDonald Creek Commission MCC meeting on February 27th. The bulk of the time was a presentation by Justin Kirk, Senior Civil Engineer with the Stormwater Management Section of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, MWRD. The purpose of his presentation was to explain what resources MWRD offers for community groups and local residents. Also present was Bob Newport of the Metropolitan Planning Council. The MCC sought ways for Prospect Heights to partner with MWRD. MCC asked if MWRD had advisors that could look at situations in our town and with McDonald Creek. Can MCC, the city's public works and engineering departments, have access to MWRD and talk conceptually? Can MWRD be a sounding board? How can MCC know what is the best thing for them to do? The response from MWRD was to keep a running record or document stormwater problems, send information on problem areas to MWRD for their review. The criteria for flood-prone properties involves a cost-benefit ratio if the problem is a recurring scenario. How much damage is experienced before it is looked at? The response was multiple flooding events must occur. He also suggested the City of Prospect Heights putting together an application on a stormwater project that makes the most sense for the McDonald Creek Commission. Identify issues and be inclusive. MWRD then sends the application to Springfield, where it is reviewed and a determination is made. MCC also asked, can MWRD do an assessment of the creek? The last assessment was during the detailed watershed project. McDonald Creek was included in the 2007 Des Plaines River Scope and Sub-Watersheds Master Plan, but MCC said that was over 10 years ago. Since then, the water flow upstream is more vigorous. MWRD said they have no plans to update the 2007 plan. MCC then spoke about bank stabilization. They said to look for the root cause of erosion. It might be upstream. Creek bank stabilization means getting a permanent easement so the municipality can't have access to the land. They further commented that a healthy stream has trees on its banks to help keep the water cool. Shade is much better for habitat along a creek. MWRD has a small streams maintenance crew and suggested the McDonald Creek Commission check their website. And just a few facts. MWRD is the second largest property owner next to the Forest Preserve District. They currently own 85 properties and do lease some of their properties. They said the major cause of flooding is typically stormwater and not the creek. The major pollutant in a stream is stormwater. The next pollutant is phosphorus, which comes from fertilizer placed on personal property in the spring. What happens is a lot of rain falls and it washes the fertilizer into the stream. And they encouraged MCC to educate the public. Lastly, the Willow Road flooding is not included in MWRD's Phase 2 Stormwater Management Program. And that was it.
Nice.
That's a good update, thanks, Jill.
Comments, anybody?
Great job.
Did we ever provide them with a list of plans to stabilize banks?
No.
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 Okay.
Are they asking about that yet, Jill?
It was just at the meeting before the February 27th meeting, the January meeting. So their next meeting in March, perhaps.
Okay.
If you have a list, I could give it to
Okay.
them.
They had mentioned something about trying to do like a test plot or stabilizing some shoreline along Park District property, either
Mhm.
at
Mm-hmm. They were talking about Kiwanis Park area, I
Kiwanis
thought.
Park.
Yeah. Their main concern right
Country
now is
Gardens.
getting their brochure finalized so that they can give it to the residents that live
Okay.
along the creek and do a community awareness.
Because I think at one of the previous meetings, they were talking about like invasive
Mhm.
removal and
Mhm.
planting
And that's when I suggested that we could
grasses.
help them.
Yeah, we really could.
Yeah.
We're gonna have so many plants, but I think they moved it to like 2019, right? Like that plan.
I can't remember.
Okay, I think it's pushed ahead, and I think when I spoke to Dino too. Well, one of the things too that when I spoke with Dino, they're really concerned about Kiwanis Park, as far as the erosion that's going on there. It would be really nice to maybe work with the McDonald Creek Commission together on that, because he sort of asked almost for our help on that, because
Oh,
it's a
really?
big problem. So, I mean,
It's
just,
really bad there.
it's,
What
there's
is
like,
that?
it's just land
Just,
coming off.
North of, if you take
If you
the
take-
library road, go, it dead ends into it,
It's off of Palatine, but
Pine, not Pine.
But you can't
Yeah,
access it
okay,
off
yeah,
of
yeah.
Palatine?
Yeah.
What's that side street right there that goes into it?
Viola.
Viola.
Viola and, it's right off a ridge.
What's the
So-
street the library's
Elm.
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 Elm, all right, so
It's Viola and
Elm dead
Elm.
ends into
Yeah.
Columbus
Yes.
Park,
Elm.
going north.
Oh,
Goes
I
up.
didn't know that.
So right by,
How do we plant plants on a eroding, I mean, like the.
unsuccessfully.
That's what I'm saying. Don't they get washed away?
Yeah, well, it depends on the plant, depends on the time, depends on, typically, it's recommended to have a 3-to-1 graded slope for planting. We've done it on really steep slopes, but we've really done a lot of experimentation with deep-rooted plants, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that works. But ideally, it's a 3-to-1 slope. Sometimes you have to stabilize a little bit with, some hardscaping. You don't, there's so many different methods, one company will come out and tell you to put up a seawall, another one will say there's a natural way to create the flow of the water, sort of like a ball on a pool table. If you think of the flow of the water and where it goes off of the banks, if you can steer that water off of that one side and make it more of a current, that goes down the center. So there's really natural ways to do that, but that usually requires a little bit of,
Stepping stones.
like something like stepping stones, yeah. And then, plants, really long roots. That turf grass is so short. It's coming off, and it's
Sort of weird.
it's like 6 inches coming off every 2 months. I think there was even like this big chunk I saw that was probably 3 feet. So if you're gonna grade the slope, so you're losing another 3 feet by coming in and taking off that top layer and grading it, making a little bit more. But in the long run, it makes sense, because you stabilize the shoreline. Water's gonna go where it's gonna go. And when that force of water comes through so quickly with all of our impervious surfaces, like, all the parking lots and everything and all the water, in a great storm event, it just all goes right there into the creek, and it flows so fast and so furious, it's gonna take land with it.
There's a
By the way,
bend
as a
road.
sidebar
Yeah.
here, I just heard on the radio when I was coming home from work, that the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District now has a program, they're working with Chicago Public Schools to replace asphalt with a pervious asphalt that will let the water penetrate the ground.
That's,
Permeable pavers.
Yeah.
He mentioned that in his,
yeah, that's
Presentation.
No,
really
they're
important.
doing asphalt that's, they're.
There is permeable asphalt, I've
Yeah,
seen
they're
it.
they're redoing parking lots. and-
They have it
and
in
things.
Glenview, right next to the prairie, and I've seen it
Water
in many
just goes
places.
right through the asphalt, it's
Yeah.
great.
It's really nice. Those are sort of the best solutions, I guess, to prevent, the fertilizer from entering the creek, prevent that huge rush of water from coming in and eroding the shoreline. That's the ideal, but that's difficult. So hopefully,
Okay.
I think it's a really great idea to work together with the McDonald Creek Commission, but if they're looking for sort of a pilot program, then that would be a
That might be a
great,
good spot.
right, maybe we can somehow reach out to them,
okay.
Park District.
Park District, right?
Park District's already asking for it, so.
Well, they're asking for it, but they asked us, so.
Maybe you can come to the next meeting with me.
Okay.
as a
When's the next
chairperson.
meeting?
End of March. Oh, gosh, I guess it's in 2 weeks.
Okay.
It would be the 28th.
It's on Earth Day.
Sorry.
Okay.
28th, yeah.
28th. That's on a Wednesday?
Tuesday night.
27th.
Then that's the 27th?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
And it's at 6 PM.
at 6 PM. Okay. I'm sure I can make that.
Okay, let's move on to prescribed burns. I'll give you my half of the update. I just spoke with Floyd at Springfield EPA, and they have located our permit, and so we've asked them to expedite it, because we're not sure when the window is going to actually happen. They said they would call me back tomorrow, so it should be in the works, should be approved. Done this before.
As
You
far
wanna
as.
talk about the burn?
Yeah, I mean, as far as who's burning right now, Cook County Forest Preserves are burning. Morton Arboretum is starting to burn next
They
week.
just burned over the weekend, I think, on Des Plaines River Trail just south of Palatine, right?
They did, they burned Bussy Woods, they've been burning anytime they can. So they've started, Morton Arboretum is starting to burn next week. Window is really narrow, I think, this year because of the warm-up, and so.
And we just had a
Don't know what to
conversation
expect.
with Peter before you guys got here. We're going to submit the plan for this burn to him so he can get it on the next
March
council meeting's
26th.
agenda.
Which is Monday.
Right.
So I was looking even at next week, but it looks like there's a little rain, precipitation, we want it dry. That week of March 26th and the following week is sort of last call. Like, first week of April, I think is gonna be, that's it. Usually it's April 15th, but I think we're gonna get a real green up and things are gonna start showing themselves and coming up out of the ground, and we don't wanna burn then, so. Wanted to ask everybody about availability, days.
I can be available whenever we need to.
So far, the 22nd, I think I'm open. I didn't bring my work
Okay.
schedule, but the 22nd, I'm open the 22nd,
Open the 22nd, which is a Thursday,
yes.
okay?
Now I work the 21st, so.
Would you be able to, how far ahead does your work schedule go?
It's out 3 weeks now.
Okay.
So I can,
Take a look at it
Yeah.
and get back to me with dates,
Yep.
possibilities,
Yep.
even if it's later, like if you came at noon? or-
Sure.
Okay,
yeah,
that's great.
I'll get that scheduled.
Okay, wonderful. And then Ed,
Yes.
your availability for
It,
burning?
it all depends, the devil's in the detail.
Okay,
Depends when, what day, if I have an event schedule, but I'll try and be as flexible as possible.
okay. Is there any day that absolutely does not work for you?
Oh, I don't know, you have to really take a look. We're looking at that last week in March. Um,
We've done a lot of coverage for other people on spring break, so it's just
Okay.
gonna be crazy.
So you're talking like that week of the 25th?
Yeah, like, the 28th. Like,
I'm actually,
Or
28th.
27th, 28th,
yeah,
29th?
I'm open, surprisingly, because I'm starting to pick up now, but yeah, those days, I don't,
Wednesdays are the.
as of today, I do not.
Wednesdays are the
have
best
it.
for you. Wednesdays are the best for me.
Yeah,
Peter, now you work on
I'll
Wednesdays.
get, sometimes, I'll
Okay.
get the schedule to you.
Okay,
though.
great.
as of today, I don't have any conflicts, it's possible, but not likely.
Okay. I can pretty much take off any day in advance of a few days, but it's the weather, it's all weather dependent on
Right.
when we burn. Like I said, there's precipitation coming, it would be really nice to get a nice dry right at the very end where it's, before it's too late.
You want to give them the brief overview of the plan?
Oh, it's not a lot of burning, so it would be just our planted areas along Hillside Avenue. We wouldn't be burning the whole slough. Just the plantings, maybe by the sign out front, a little extending onto Marion, that side, no cattails,
Okay.
basically.
Where we tried last year a little bit too, or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, where we
Yeah.
tried in the fall.
What I'm thinking, Agnes, you know, what I've seen is that the fuel is so high up, and there's nothing to carry the fire
Right.
on the floor. If there's some way we could either brush cut or line trim to get that down,
Absolutely.
because I'm thinking that's the only way to carry, you know,
Yeah.
a good fire through
Right.
there, is to get more fuel down on
It's a
the,
great idea, Peter.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that
Yeah.
before prep time.
yeah.
And whatever day we choose, you know, the actual burning will be probably an hour or hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so we could certainly meet up and do that even the day of,
Mhm, or
whoever's
even the day
available.
before.
So I,
Okay.
that's a really good idea. The other location is Lauren's Prairie. You guys remember
Oh,
little
yes,
Lauren,
yes.
who has a prairie in front of her
Yeah.
house? So it's in their third year. So we could just swing by. They have an EPA permit. I helped them with it. They have an actual EPA permit and they got it approved. mean, it's a section, like, what is it, like 50 feet by 30 feet
Mhm.
on a little hill. It would take 6 minutes to burn.
Speaking of which,
Little
what
Lorne.
do you recommend for the private property, little plots
Your
of
prairie?
prairie? Yeah,
Yeah.
just mow it or
Cut it.
cut it?
You could burn it too. But it's usually like in the third to fourth year after you plant it, just to get those plants.
So with all these, so with a small plot, then just cut it down.
I mean, with a small plot, you can, the EPA permit's really easy. I mean, it takes 2 minutes to burn. You ask one of us, it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. You do the training, you can do it yourself. Because you're a homeowner and you get the EPA permit, you have to notify the city, I'm sure, but I know of homeowners who do that in Prospect Heights, so,
See if you even have to notify the city.
right.
Do you need an EPA permit to do that on your home?
I think you do. I believe I researched them, that's why I had them get one.
But in Prospect Heights, you can burn?
I have to look and see if there's an
How
ordinance.
they-
You have to notify the city. I'm unaware of anything. I only know, city has to be notified when you're gonna do city property, so.
Right. So, but, yeah, cut it.
Cut it.
That's it.
All right.
Maybe not mow, because you disrupt
to
the
the
soil. Yeah,
All right.
just cut it. Down to
Give
the-
it a brush cutter.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah, brush cut, whichever way, but if you,
Cut it
use
in
a mower,
match.
you're,
That's all I need to know.
just don't, or,
Follow Peter's recommendation.
okay,
Well,
Which is-
Peter had to cut first, so there's fuel on the ground and then burn.
That,
Yes. He said, burn, baby, burn. Don't worry, just do it.
Nothing on the books.
Go big or go home.
okay.
Okay, so that's it for the. burn.
Oh, we have one other new member to the burn, team.
Oh, yeah,
Seth
Seth.
Marcus.
Mhm.
He actually did the 2-day training.
Oh, cool.
He has the boots, the Kevlar boots. Yeah, he's all ready to go. So I'm gonna, ask him his availability, but also he can work around his schedule too, to help us.
Good.
Joe, do you want to help in any
I
capacity?
could tell you, I will try to help if I can. I would not be able to do Thursday or Friday that week.
Okay, yeah, even if it's, walking around talking to neighbors,
Yes,
same
that I
kind of
can
an
do.
issue.
Right. And I
Just-
can help with brush cutting before the burn
Yeah,
too, of
right,
course.
so,
Sure.
can't put on the burn suit yet, but.
No, maybe wear a hat, but
They still have.
I'll wear the pink handkerchief.
They still offer burn crew training. Even, I think it's like next weekend or something
Oh,
at Morton
yeah.
Arboretum. So if anybody last minute still wants to
nudge, nudge, I can feel it.
put on the burn suit, then you can do that.
I will be wearing the pink handkerchief.
Okay.
All right, Peter?
Real.
Yes. So I've been looking at the insecticide issue. There's been a lot of talk and things going around that people don't know about. And I gave every commissioner a copy of something I had pulled up off the internet. And it's really interesting. The new, not really new, they've been out for a while. They're called neonicotinoids, or neonicotinoids, for short, neonics. They are really widespread in use, especially that one group, that first group. I think homeowners, I don't even think a lot of us commissioners realize the damage that is being done out there. We're planting all these native plants and promoting pollination, and there's a lot of insecticides that are doing a lot of damage to the beneficial insects. So it's something that should be brought to everyone's attention, I think, the residents of Prospect Heights, gardeners, because the season is just starting up now, and there's a lot of these products that the homeowner or the residents are unaware of the damage that they're causing to the pollinators, especially the bees. So it's something that we all should look at, do some research on these neonics. And there's other insecticides. There's one that I know very well, it's called Sevin, S-E-V-I-N.
Yeah.
I know
And
that
it
one too.
really, it's a very common insecticide. It's pretty safe for humans, but it just destroys bees. And it's something that the homeowners, residents should be aware of, gardeners especially. And there's a new product on the market. A lot of these products now, the agriculture, they have GMOs where you can spray or apply insecticides and herbicides without doing damage to the crops. And the latest one now is this dicamba-ready soybeans. And it's being outlawed in several states now because it wipes out the milkweed. And the milkweed is the only food source of the monarch butterfly, and the monarch butterfly population is still declining. So it's just something I wanted to bring to the commission's attention, these insecticides. To do a little research, you'd just be astounded. I'm amazed at the amount of product that's being used by
Homeowners.
residents.
Yeah.
And I really don't think they understand
No, I understand.
what they're putting out there.
Do you know what a good alternative is?
A lot of it is, do they really need it? I know people, neighbors, that apply every year. I don't think they've ever had a blade of crabgrass in their front yard, and they'll go out and put crabgrass prevent down. I don't think I've seen any grub damage in our neighborhood, and people will religiously go out and put down an insecticide to kill the grubs. A lot of it has to do with what is your threshold for damage, your economic threshold, seeing exactly, do you really have damage from insects in your home yard? I mean, that's going to cause you to lose a lot of turf. The same thing in your garden. Is the pest that bad? A lot of it is scouting to see exactly what damage is being done. Can you live with it? That's the big thing. I think it's a lot of unnecessary use of chemicals, really. People would just, see if that damage is really extensive to warrant
Yeah.
insecticides.
I feel like many times it doesn't kill the plant. You have a couple of holes in the leaves of a plant,
Right.
and you see
Yeah.
that with native plants all the time,
Right.
and we're excited about that because that's monarch caterpillars that are feeding on the plant. The plant never dies, but I think that homeowners and gardeners, they feel like, oh my gosh, the plant's not perfect. There's something eating it. It must be bad. We need to.
Right.
Kill it.
Even
This would be a good little mini topic for Earth Day.
I think it's a really important issue, and even myself, recently there was I'm part of the Volunteer Stewardship Network. There's an online sort of back and forth talking about different natural areas, management problems and things that come up. And so they were mentioning that there's a bacteria that's being, multiple management techniques for the gypsy moth, which is not a native moth, and it can cause large amounts of crop failure. But typically it's a very localized, it doesn't really do as much damage as maybe warrants the use of these insecticides that they're spraying from the air over thousands of acres. So a lot of people were upset about this and sort of came back, and some very interesting responses from the experts, scientists, ecologists, field museum experts came back. And so it was very interesting to hear their opinion about how bad that is. And one of these is that I'm sure maybe even, I've used it myself. I remember about 10 years ago I had Japanese beetles, and there's this bacillus strain that you can spray like a powder into your lawn that kills grubs. It kills everything. It kills caterpillars. It kills monarchs. So I was planting native plants and killing monarch caterpillars, But you don't know that. I mean, you don't
Right.
understand it. You don't
I think
realize
Stephen
it.
Packard has picked this up too, hasn't he?
Yeah, Stephen Packard even commented about this whole thing. So I think it's really important.
He's written some very good blogs about this effort to crop dust these places down mid-state.
Well, I'd like to add that there are some natural solutions. Grubs are a problem for many people. Of course, the animals dig it up and can tear up the lawn, especially skunks, and so that is a nuisance. But There's things like milky spore, which is a natural bacteria that the grubs ingest, and then they die, and they actually perpetuate the spreading of it, because then that bacteria, again, natural and safe, spreads and kills more of the milky spore, and then so on and so on, and it continues. And I've actually used that. It's a little bit more expensive. I mean, you have to do multiple treatments over a couple of years, but then you get a 10, 15-year benefit from it. So, where you don't have to do anything. And also, too, I would point out that some of the, some of the products are not safe for humans, like Roundup has been proven to do nerve damage. So,
Really?
it's not just the critters that can be harmed, but us as well.
Yeah. And a lot of the products, the newer products, they're so good, they call them systemics, like these deonics.
Yeah.
So they stay in the plant, and they're taken up in the plant, and they're moved throughout the plant, up and down the root system, up to the flower, and they stay in the plant, these newer insecticides, up 2 to 3 months. So by the time the plant is flowering, you get all these insects, different types of insects, going, getting their pollen or whatever. So they're doing damage beyond just the 1 or 2 weeks to kill your target. A lot of these products, too, you have to watch the how they go through the soil. Some of these products, they tell you not to use if you have a well. So a lot
Well,
of
we don't
products-
have any of those around here, so.
So, especially dicamba. Dicamba moves through the soil unbelievably fast. It's one of the herbicides, it's not an insecticide, but it's a herbicide, and a lot of weed control products have dicamba. That's the name of the chemical in the herbicide. Does a great job on clover and chickweed and creeping Charlie, but it gets into your water eventually. It goes through the soil very fast, so you have to be careful with that one. So people really have to watch what they're applying to their plants, really.
Peter, would you be willing to work with me or Ed or anybody who's got the time and the energy to come up with maybe a one-sheet handout that we could give away on Earth Day?
Sure.
On the work day?
Sure, especially, this is just a partial list. I wanted to keep it brief and just one page, because there's so many products. There's only like 3 classes here, but there are so many more, and that's what I wrote on here. This is just a partial list, but I'd be glad to get more information. All of us would just research a little bit of the neonics,
Yeah,
what they do.
research it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to research it with, like really valid scientific literature. Reach out to, like maybe Isa Redlinski, the ecologist, or the Field Museum, or some, like, leading experts in the field. Because you can find anything out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Probably a good topic for Nature Speaks.
right? Nature Speaks, maybe a journal article?
Yeah, journal article for sure, Pete.
It'd be good for the garden club, too, people that do a lot of gardening. One thing, after it gets to the insect, the birds come along, and they
Right.
pick it up. So it's just being spread throughout our whole natural
Food chain.
resource. It's just,
I think a lot of it too is just the cultural aspect of gardening and having everything
Yeah,
perfect, the
your
perfect
manicure.
lawn, the perfect this,
Yeah.
you don't tolerate certain insects and you end up using these products.
You might feel differently if it's getting into your water supply.
Oh, yes.
Right.
For sure.
That's good. Yeah, it's
yeah,
a good idea.
your well water.
Yeah, right. Might change the culture.
Thanks, Pete.
Great.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
We need to add two
Items
new
at
items
the
of
beginning,
new
I'm
business
sorry.
here real quick, and
Just-
Agnes is going to take care of those, so.
Right. I just wanted to mention 2 things that have come up since the last meeting. MacArthur Middle School is having a science showcase. We've worked with MacArthur 6th graders before, they've come out. So what this science showcase is, it's typically been science teachers, they have 9 science teachers, and they create these booths and these exhibits of things, but they're reaching out this year to organizations beyond just the teachers, and so they've asked us if we would participate. It's on April 3rd, which is a Tuesday, in the evening at 6
6:30.
6:30.
And Jill
Setup
and
time is
Ag Center
5:30.
are gonna do that.
Yeah, or if anybody else wants to participate.
We've already, everybody's
Oh, right, everybody's
busy.
already, that's right, we've already asked them. So we need ideas, I guess. So we've already have some ideas, some great ideas from Jill, and
I
a
think
couple
if
other.
Peter and I can get something together with the insecticide, that would be
Yeah,
a
that'd
nice
be awesome.
inclusion.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. So basically, you know, a little bit hands-on, something that they can see or feel or interact with, or even just see. It's sort of like a science fair, but not a science fair. There's no competition, there's no prize, there's nothing. It's just them as, you know.
Yeah, we could bring some burn equipment and do a little.
That was a really good idea with the burn equipment. We can bring some bark, examples of bark, like
From the native trees.
from native trees, so you can see like burnt potato chip bark of the cherry tree and others. I can bring some twigs too, which then we can keep for our
Bring
interns,
a couple of trays of plants.
a couple of trays of plants, seedlings. I'll just basically have a whole,
Bus.
no kielbasa, yeah. But, you know, something just that kids can walk up and take a look and ask questions, and it's interactive, and it's a district-wide event too, so it won't just be MacArthur students, it'll be families and kids of all ages, and so,
What's the day and time again?
April 3rd
Okay,
at 6:30. Setup time is 5:30 or sooner if we need it.
okay.
You know, I'm envisioning for the flyer, something like, you know, where have all the bees gone? You know, the answer's in your garage,
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
you know?
I like that.
ooh, yeah, I like that. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
It's in your canister of
It's in
7?
the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You write that down, yeah. Okay. Oh, the other thing is the Northtown Garden Society, their garden society in Chicago. So it's near Rogers Park, Warren Park, actually. They've asked us to speak, to do our Snoop presentation, which I know I say this every time, but someone told us we should go on the road with it. Looks like we are. So
And everybody is signed on here, so.
they have a very large, they said that they get like 100 people to come to these events. And we get a $100 stipend. So,
Bar afterward.
April 5th, it's April 5th.
Right, they all
Warren,
know.
There's a
They all
couple
know,
good
right,
bars
April
right
5th.
along, Foster.
7 p.m.
I think we could carpool there if
We
you
could
guys are
carpool.
interested.
There's
We should-
Warsaw Nights right at.
We should
Peterson.
practice beforehand, right? Like we've always done, we practice beforehand, go over it at least once or twice, so, and Peter, do you want to participate?
No, I just wanted to know the date.
Yeah. So yeah, April 5th, which is a Thursday. So April 3rd is the MacArthur, April 5th is the talk at for the Northtown Garden Society.
Right.
We're extrapolating, going beyond Prospect Heights, Arlington Heights, we're going into the city
In the soundtrack behind.
to talk to them about. And then they asked for information about the speakers.
Right, which I'm going to supply them.
Do you guys want to provide like a sentence or something about yourself to Dane?
Sentence.
Or 3 sentences? I don't know. They want to,
I'll
they
write
want to, or do you want him just to craft something
Two
and
Johns.
Well,
a general? Well, they want to have like a pamphlet or something they can
Sure.
hand out to
No,
people
it's-
about,
It's advisable.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So, I'm asking just if you wanted
I've
to,
already sent them information on the program, remember?
on the program, but they want information about our organization
A
and
little
the
bios,
speakers.
few
Yeah,
sentences.
sure, exactly.
All right, just send them to me when you get them.
Okay. That's all I have for those new things that,
Okay, visitors' comments? I make the motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
I-
Aye.